Hey, I'm Harvey Cheek from High Speed Gear Products Group.
I'm David Acosta with Allegiance Defense Solutions.
We're here to talk about our low visibility suite of pouches. So This is something you've been working on for a long time. What kind of led to your inception and need for the product?
Yeah, so like back in, I want to say 2015, working with the low-vis law enforcement unit, assigned to a Fed task force, basically doing all low-vis work. So working in a capacity where we were not overtly identifiable as law enforcement, having the need to run low-vis gear, meaning like gear that would allow us to have pistols, pouches, radios, handcuffs, all the gear that we would normally have in a law enforcement function, necessities for the job, that allowed us to carry these things, make them producible quickly, accessible quickly, but also be versatile in the ability to carry them as we changed our uniforms and whatnot, so our gear, if you will. So started taking stuff and like rearranging, like all kind of makers start off doing, taking pouches that were kind of already made and then repurposing certain aspects of like clips and mounting solutions to make them more conducive to what we wanted to do with them and what we need them to do for us as a team. So started doing little stuff. Had a buddy that was into sewing, showed me some things. He actually sewed this up for me, made it to my specs. We used some Velcro and hook and loop and epoxy and sewing and all the different things to get it squared away the way we wanted. And then it just kind of progressed from there to what we have now.
Awesome. So then how did we get here to where we're manufacturing pouches to your specification?
Yeah.
In mass?
So through the progression, right, like starting off, it was like kind of adjunct, ad lib, if you will, just my own variations of what I thought right looked like. And again, it wasn't with the intent of being sold, just like, hey, how do I make this for me and my guys, or for me specifically? Started wearing it, teaching with it, showing guys that were still in the field kind of doing that same job or something similar to it. And it was like, hey man, like you should produce this. So I finally got to a point where like, hey, I want to make this like an actual thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, who do I show this to? And I was like, who better than Harvey? So let me call my buddy Harvey and let me pitch him an idea. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
So I was like, hey, we need to do FaceTime and I'll show you something. I have an idea. And I want you to tell me what you think about it. So if you recall, we just set up that FaceTime. I showed you, I had a pair of jeans, mm-hmm. right, like that I was using. I felt like I was on the Shark Tank. Like, hey dude, like here's an idea that I have. I think it has merit and here's why. Showed you kind of the progression that I had up until the point where I sent you these, which were kind of like, hey, this is my idea as far as like, it can be better, but I need actual like manufacturing capability. Like guys that actually know how to sew, and like can do that at volume and capacity that is going to support the need, the demand.
Right. So then given the pouch where we are today, how do you use that and how do you envision guys using that?
Right on. So I wanted a pouch that we can wear and obviously have it concealable, accessible, modular, have all those principles of a good product. All good tools we look for, number one, first and foremost, what's this reliability, what's this capability, the simplicity of the design in conjunction with having the balance of versatility. So how can it be more than, how can it support more than one use or function? How can it support different people's needs? Do I need 10 different pouches or can I just have one? Whatever you found is like when we pressure test our stuff, like a lot of times that we'd go hands on, we'd start fighting with people. We'd find stuff breaking, stuff coming out, from a retention perspective.
Right.
And if we went too heavy on the retention side, it became difficult to produce, like to actually draw from. So just trying to find that balance. So we landed on what we have currently, right? Like the current design. So progressing through, like we knew initially I was doing it with Velcro, the hook and loop, mm-hmm. And the DCC clips, and it was just like, it worked, but it wasn't perfect. And It was like, hey, like we have this idea of using that thermoplastic material kind of thing. How do we take that and laser engrave it? We know that it's super rigid, super sturdy, very durable, and lending to how do we make it lend toward end users being able to adjust specifically for them, like ride height, cant, make it modular for the end user to be able to adjust to the extent that they feel is necessary and appropriate for them individually.
Right. And that's probably my favorite feature about it.
Yeah.
You can pocket mount it You can change the angle. You can change the ride height.
Right.
You can
And
put
it's funny is like initially it started off as like a pocket design.
Right.
Like it was intended to be worn in the pocket. But what we found is specifically pressure testing either on the job or just in a training environment, wearing the gear, what we found is like wearing it in the pocket, like there's other designs that are pocket mounted solutions for lights and magazines and whatnot. What we found is they would easily come disconnected. Once we start getting in and out of cars, jumping over fences, fighting with people, it just didn't lend to being able to move with us as we did those things.
Right.
So like it not moving with us made it uncomfortable at times because you're getting poked with hard stuff in places that doesn't feel good. And then, in the pocket, it would eat up the entire pocket, or the mag would come loose, light comes undone, and next thing you know, you just end up with a loose mag in the pocket. So now when you do your reload, it's backwards, sideways, taking up space. It just didn't really feel well in that capacity. So initially starting off with the clips set up for a pocket mounted solution, we worked it so that obviously it still lends to that. It keeps it in one place in the pocket where you put it, and no matter jumping fences, in and out of cars, fighting, etc., no matter what you find yourself doing, it stayed in the actual pouch itself, and the lack of rigidity with the pouch allowed a degree of comfort as we moved dynamically, and not have it come undone or be so intrusive as far as it's sticking and poking you.
Yeah, that lack of rigidity I think is important if you're, say, in a long car ride and you don't want to have your pistol mag appendix. You can just pull it out and the pouch completely collapses, and it gives you that comfort for a long ride.
Yeah, so dudes found themselves on surveillance for a long period of time. It's like, hey, I want to put it in my waistband. So we just switched out clips. By switching out a clip, now it runs inside the waistband, but I don't actually want to wear it, right? Like we're in a position where it's uncomfortable for an extended period of time, videotaping, we're watching, doing surveillance stuff. It was like, all right, well, I can pop this out. It collapses shut, right, because it's flat against the body. So now you kind of don't even know it's there until you need it.
Right.
So we got to the point where we would just put it on kind of like on a regular day-to-day, wear it, and then when you need it, now you just insert whatever you need into it just by going out a notch on your belt, and now you have the extra space to be able to put that on there. The belt also acts as a second redundancy, as opposed to the actual, the elastic component or capability of the nylon there. It acts as a form of retention, but also the belt, the degree of tension that you put on the belt, kind of determined how stiff it stayed in there or how rigid it was in there,
Right.
retention-wise.
All right, when you receive your low V, it will come packaged like this, and now we're going to walk through a progression of how to set it up. So inside the pouch will be the DCC Mod 4 Shorty 1.5" clip, and then the hardware.
We purposely don't put the hardware on to allow you as the end user, again, the degree of modularity and adjustability so that you can determine based on what you want to carry in there, again, adjusting the ride height as well as the ride cant. So depending on what you're wearing in there will dictate how you want to best do that.
So I'm going to set it up for an appendix carry to kind of ride in your inguinal crease. So I will insert the nut under the thermoplastic composite, and then it'll click in to the slot. I kind of like to use a flathead driver to put it in. I'll run the next one in, and it'll click in. Then I will take the rubber washers over the top of the barrel nuts. And I will put the clip on, then the screws. And then once you get it set up how you like it, I would recommend ensuring that your screws are thread locked. So I'll kind of set it up like that, and now I will snug it down.
Yeah, thread locking, it just guarantees it's going to kind of stay there exactly where you want it, especially when you start pulling on it.
So now I have it set up to ride appendix in your inguinal crease.
And again, what's cool about it is what we like about the design is it allows for the end user to determine what they want to carry in there. So not only can you determine, obviously the ride height or the cant, the adjustability in that regard, you can adjust based on what you plan on carrying on there. So if you want to carry a pistol mag in there, put a pistol mag in there. If you want to carry a tourniquet in there, you can carry a tourniquet in there. Civilian going for a run or just wants OC spray, you can fit that in the pouch. For law enforcement that needs to carry OC, that's an option. Lights, multi-tools, those are all options as long as they're roughly the size of a magazine. So if it's around the approximate size of a magazine, it'll accommodate it, which is obviously it lends to the versatility of the product as a whole. The other thing that lends to its versatility is the actual clip, right? So being able to switch out from one clip to another based on all the different designs out there, specifically the ones made by DCC, Discrete Carry Concepts, it allows, again, you to have a little more modularity in how specifically you want to set yours up. So if you want to run a pocket clip for any of these things, you just do the exact same thing that Harvey showed you there. You just mount it with the pocket clip that determines the ride height. So when we talk pocket clips for magazines, what we generally see is people want the magazine in the pocket, but they don't want it to be seen from the outside. So we just make sure that the top of the clip, right, rides higher than the actual magazine itself. And we dictate that based on how we attach the actual clip, based on the actual clip's length, right? So there's a myriad of these pocket clips made by DCC, and we can adjust the height of those clips to support exactly what we want.
And then with the pocket clip, you can run it super deep concealment, run it behind your belt, just clipped onto your pants.
Yep, for sure. So here we have a visual reference for you to be able to see exactly what it looks like when worn on the waistline. So set of pants, a belt. We have an low-vis pouch set up here inside the waistband, set up for the appropriate ride height and cant for this specific end user based on their preferences. Here we have a pistol mag pouch set up specifically for the end user to be able to carry it discreetly inside the pocket. It's not visible from the outside as to what's being carried specifically. The magazine, the top of the magazine sits below the actual top of the pocket line. Back here, around that 8 o'clock, 7:30 position, you can see that there's a rifle mag pouch set up there for quick access to a rifle mag. Again, if that's your specific wants and needs.